Your gateway to tech products directly from manufacturers. Get access to competitive prices on a variety of products such as computers, phones, consumer electronics, printers, games and turners, electric solutions, and many more from brands like Samsung, HP, Huawei, Dell. Just a few clicks. Scale your business. Do seamless trade. Track your orders and maximize profits. Are you ready to join Africa's most powerful reseller network? Showing millions of businesses on Super App today and be a part of Africa's digital renaissance. Visit superapp.tdafrica.com to get started. One purpose, innovation. Africa, empowering you.
Welcome back. Let's bring in our next guest, NEMA Head of Sokoto Operations Office, Aliyu Kafin-Dankye, joins us virtually. Mr. Kafin-Dankye, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we basically want to catch up with the updates. My guess, I stand to be corrected, maybe you can put me right. Perhaps this time rescue has been closed, it's now recovery, is that what's going on? And what's the latest as far as this exercise is concerned?
For the first 3 days, we have been on the rescue mission after a boat mishap carrying farmers and market men and women across the river Bojo in Gorayo local government of Sokoto. The boat capsized on Sunday with about 50 or over 50 passengers on board. Luckily for us, that very day, 25 persons were rescued alive. And then the following day, such a rescue continued. That is on Monday. We were not able to retrieve anybody. But yesterday, 3 bodies were retrieved at a community close to the Gojo. There, one at Paridok, and then the other one upstream, down to about 40 kilometers from the eastern side in Wuchi, in Wurno local government. And incidentally, throughout we but we are having report that some of the bodies have been retrieved, but we are going after this interview straight to the Orano side. But as it is, such a rescue has been called because it's expected that up to 24 hours, there is no chance of finding any survivors of the boat mishap.
So please speak to us about the factors responsible for this mishap, because I imagine that you've done the analysis. What are the factors?
The factors responsible for this mishap, we always constantly engage with stakeholders, NIWA, NEMA, SEMA, Red Cross, IOM. Since when the NAMED presented its climate outlook and the NISA about the flood outlook, we have been downscaling to the state government to areas where it's possible, where likely flooding will occur, especially along the riverine areas and tributaries to the River Niger. We have done so. Even last week we had a simulation exercise. We always consistently engage the communities, both local canoe operators, the divers, and the community leaders, youth leaders, market women, and the local government and the state officials. We always sensitize, educate, and tell them what to do. Tell them how to operate their canoes. For example, the canoe was overloaded. It's a wooden canoe, overloaded with over 50 passengers. With prototype was about 7. With food, back of pump products. So it's overloaded, you see, and there's high current. One of them has started releasing its water. That water will go down and meet with another river from Galata Mambra, all to Jelly where it's joins the river Niger. So the current is very light. But thank God we asked the dam manager of the branch to suspend the release of the water, and now it's reaching critical level. Therefore, they must release it, otherwise the dam will reach the point of breaking. So overloading, non-adherence to strict rule of using life jackets and so on and so forth. These are what, and not driving canoes. We always tell them not to go up without local wooden when there is high tide.
Okay.
But then there are high tide, and that's what makes the canoe to subside.
All right, Ms. Ali, thank you so much. We just need to touch base with you to find out how far this is gone. So, in 30 seconds, just as a reminder, how many people were rescued? How many bodies have been recovered? How many still missing? Just in 30 seconds.
So far, we are able to rescue 25 persons alive out of the 50 or over, because nobody can ascertain the exact number. Yesterday, we retrieved 3 bodies in different locations, which we were there, or they were buried according to planning injunction, and we are still looking for about 22. But instantly, we have to put that some bodies are being, I don't want to quote the number because we have to go there and see for ourselves, Google and GPS location real time for us to, with the Red Cross, NIWA, and other stakeholders. If when we compare together, we take the exact and verifiable data before we can release the information.
All right. Aliyu Kafindanchi is the head of Sokoto Operations Office of National Emergency Management Agency. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, that big DNA question is going to be our conversation. If I were you, I'm not going anywhere because I don't. You love this interesting angle to this whole idea of DNA testing and the surprising results we're seeing. 1 in every 4 men, according to the sample size that was conducted by the researchers, showed that 1 in every 4 men are not the biological fathers of their children. Well, find out details when we'll come back after this break. Join us again.
Hello and welcome to One to One. Our guest today is quite a remarkable individual. And I know I'm putting you in an incredibly difficult position.
The tourism was so alien. People thought we were crazy.
No one has always recognized the creative genius of Nigerians. But what has it meant to you personally?
Game-changing discussions on the big ideas that shape our thinking.
We've been very focused on trying to accomplish something that is typically not done.
You have to be deliberate. That's the point I'm making. But it appears that things have gotten worse. So what happened? How did we get here?
Let people think, let people be bold, and the country can change.
This is One to One.
It's been called paternity crisis. Data came up a few days ago that pointed to evidence that 1 in every 4 men may not just be the biological father of the child that they've been calling child. But what exactly is this data about? How did we come up with this data? And what does that mean, really? We're joined on the program by the head of strategy and corporate communications, Smart DNA, that came up with these findings. Oluwafemi Popola joins us virtually on the program. Good morning, Mr. Popola. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Thankfully, there are only 3 men on this show. We don't have up to 4. So the data doesn't stand. But let's speak to the data that you came up with. That's just on the side. Speak to us about the sample size to begin with. What is a sample size? How did you decide the sample size? Then we'll talk about the breakdown of the data, or the results, that is.
Okay, thank you very much for starting with that question, because it's very important to actually talk about that. And I would like to start by saying that, which we emphasize even in the report, that you see, the data that we have is a biased data, because the results are actually for people that come to facility, to do paternity DNA testing. And what that means is that we're talking about individuals that already have, specific reasons to question paternity. In other words, to extrapolate that data to say that, 1 in 4 Nigerian men are not the biological father of their children, it might be stretching it too far. However, the data is for tests conducted in our company, which means that we're talking about, why I will not today, we're talking about thousands of tests, right? And what this is saying is that after every 4 men, right, that come around to do DNA testing, 1 in 4 turn out to be negative, which means that the presumed father is actually not the biological father of the child.
So it's important to put that in proper context. So for those who have come to town saying 1 in every 4 Nigerian men is not the biological father, take it easy. It's just from the tests carried out by Smart DNA. But nonetheless, it is a very, very concerning matter, Mr. Popola, because it points to issues around trust. It points to a lot of things, but speak to us about the trend now. Now that we understand the data, we know the context. So let's talk about what this then means, or at least the trend you have seen. First of all, why do people conduct these tests to begin with? I don't remember our parents, maybe wrong though, except maybe there's a legal issue or there's an extreme case, but I don't remember parents just randomly saying, I want to go and test DNA, except they did and they didn't tell us. So why are people conducting these tests?
Okay, I think two things, a couple of things could be responsible. One is access. The technology already became perfect in the last decade or so, or at most 20 years. So it wasn't that available before. Now it's available and the price is actually coming down. So accessibility is one. Then number 2, people are becoming a bit more enlightened. There is internet, there is social media. So people now know. What you don't know, you cannot, if you don't know that it's possible to do a DNA test, you will not go for it. So awareness is increasing. It's becoming more affordable and accessible. But to answer the question of, is it that the prevalence of, misattributed paternity is higher now? And I probably not able to answer that question because we probably don't have data. What do I mean? In those days, as I said, they didn't have a way of checking. Now we have a way of checking, which means that, in fact, there was a discussion from where I was, and some people were saying, that it's even possible that the rate of paternity misattribution could be higher in those days, because that person was making mention of, people in cocoa, they will just go and, make themselves under the tree and all of that, but there was no way to know. And I kind of think that is the case. So it is difficult to say that it's higher now than then. But notwithstanding, what the data is showing in our center is that in the last 3 years, we've seen a trend, and I think data has remained generally consistent and stable. So in 2023, the data that we pull out, showed that 26% of paternity DNA testing came negative. Now the data went up to 27% for 2024 data. Now 2025 data is actually 25%, which means that it actually traded down by 2%. But if you do the average, we're actually coming to around 26% negative rate, which is still essentially the same over the last 3 years.
So we will be walking through the slides. So you just be our interpreter. So we exhaust and make the most. Let's talk about this type of tests. You talked about, from your record, that there are three major reasons why people come for testing: legal, immigration, and peace of mind. And that peace of mind is 83.7%. Please help us make sense of that.
Okay, thank you. So peace of mind test means a test that has not been demanded by a government body, which means that I just have a question on paternity, that's a dispute, then I want to know, right? So that is called personal, DNA testing, and that constitutes the bulk of the test that we did. The second, in terms of a distant second, actually, is immigration DNA testing, which means that for people that are dual citizens, right? Maybe they have a child in Nigeria. Now they want to, find that, this is my child, or to find citizenship for the child. Usually, in some cases, the government of those countries, could be UK, could be any country in the European Union, could be Canada, could be US, could be Australia, they might demand for DNA evidence to show that really this person is a biological child of the person that is claiming that they are the father of this child. And then the third is legal. Legal is where there is a dispute, right? And they've gone to court, and the court has said, okay, the only way to actually establish paternity of a child is to do a paternity DNA test. That's the most conclusive way. And then the court will mandate that, the parties go to, a DNA center to go and do DNA testing. So those are the top three, types of tests that we do. Of course, there is the prenatal one, which means that some people do not even want to wait for the baby to be born. They just want to do it while the woman is still, pregnant. So that is the non-invasive prenatal testing.
Okay, let's go to the next one, which is of interest, and I want to find out from you specifically. So you did top 10 states that go seek for DNA confirmation. Lagos leads above every other person. In fact, Lagos, from your chart, shows 69%, and the 35 other states and the FCT, my guess is 31% from this data. Is it because of access to the technology, or Lagos is just unsure?
I think it should be a combination of factors. Access is one, economic power is two, and the agricultural factor is another. So access, our base, most of our primary centers are in Lagos, Highland, Mainland. Of course, we have locations across Nigeria, but Lagos is our primary base. That's number one. Then number two is why the price of DNA test is coming down. The reality is that for a lot of people, it's still high, right? So which means that cost is a factor. And because Lagos kind of have more economic power, that could be a factor as well. And then another thing is cultural, right? Lagos people are generally more cosmopolitan. They're more exposed to, modern way of doing things and all of that, generally speaking. So which means that they will be more likely to, do DNA testing. So it's a combination of cultural, it's a combination of cause and of location. And then what that culture is very important is that we've had instances, for instance, a particular state in the southeast, say Anambra, where when there is dispute, what you hear is that it doesn't matter, whoever paid the dowry of a woman is assumed that the man is the owner of all the children, even if they bring pregnancy to the marriage. So cultural things actually play an important role as well.
So not to digest with this data, but again, must stress that it's based on the tests that you have conducted in your own center. I'm looking at Lagos now, because let's zoom into Lagos, and I see that Lekki accounts for most of these tests, people from Lekki, and I see that it's 20%. Lekki is leading for the area that people who've conducted these tests are from. And I must say that these must be very interesting figures for you to look at, and you must have a lot of experience having to handle, or at least, because you would give the results, right? So I imagine you see a lot of responses to these results. So maybe, why is Lekki leading, Mr. Popola? What's going on in Lekki?
I think it's still a combination of economy and access and cosmopolitan nature of, different parts of Lagos. Lekki, we know that a lot more people, economically empowered people, are moving to the Lekki-Aja axis. That could be one. And then for us, right, we know that, so apart from the economic, is the fact that, we opened a new office in Lekki last year, right, around March or so, or April. So which means that we made it more accessible to the people in that environment as well. So the combination of economic and access. But I think another thing that I'm not very sure might be a demographic shift. We know that a lot of development is happening in that axis. Mentioning it, right now the airport and all of that, and a lot of real estate are springing up.
Okay.
And yeah, so that could be another factor.
I'm just asking for the sake of Lekki people. That's all. I just want to know what for a friend, right, Jeffrey? Because Ikoyi is the most affluent, but Ikoyi is more old money than Lekki. But you talk about the economic power. What is the average cost of conducting a DNA test?
Okay, so for the basic DNA test, which is like the lowest in cost, in our center, we're talking about the peace of mind test. It starts at around 300,000 naira.
Sorry? Say it again.
The basic test, which is like the peace of mind test for say a father and a child, comes to around 300,000.
So peace of mind costs 300,000. What about the other ones? How high does it get?
Yeah, I think the most expensive will be the prenatal testing because that is a whole different ballgame. But for the legal and the immigration, that is a little bit higher than the peace of mind because the result is going to be the same. But for legal and immigration, that requires what you call a very strict chain of custody. What that means is that while for peace of mind, a father can come with his child and do it, no problem. But for the legal immigration, there must be a very strict chain of custody, which means that the parties to be tested must provide their ID card, passport photograph. The sample collector will look at the picture of the passport, the ID card, match it to the face. At the point of collecting, the sample is collected, it is sealed, not tampered with. Even if it costs money, usually the cost have an official witness, everything, and everything is sealed. So from the point of taking the sample to the point of processing it, everything is, is the custody is secured. There is no tampering and all of that. So because of the very good system that is, well, that is a little bit higher in terms of cost. Then the prenatal that is a different ball game because then you are not going to be able to take maternal blood from the pregnant woman, and then you're taking a vocal from the father and all of that.
We just needed to explore the data and really have a better understanding of the context and perhaps the implication. I don't want people to be not trusting their spouses as a result of this. It's just data, and we should handle it as just what it is. But we're speaking with Sir Ruffin Bukola, Head of Strategy and Comms at Smart DNA. Wish you the very best, Sir Bukola.
Thank you.
Jeffrey.
Well, interesting. There are lots to digest. Well, I'm even looking at the ethnic, the Yoruba leads with it, the testing, how Igbo next.
Yeah.
Delta Joy so-called Robo Shekri next.
Because the center is in Lagos.
Yeah,
so the samples are natural.
And then men around 40 years and above.
Yeah.
That test is more for male children to confirm.
And the men are the ones that initiate the test the most.
Women are just a little percentage.
I think about 80-something% from the data I'm looking at. You're wondering why we're really interested in this data. It's just data.
I'm happy we contextualized it.
Yeah.
Okay. As we begin to wind down, let's tell you what you need to know. With the Quam 1, Quam 2, Quam 3, Quam many numbers that has happened, the FAA and the FAN has now come out with flat directive. This is not a question of one airline has this rule and another airline have their rules. No, this is as clear as one unilateral directive to all the airlines, no matter the airline. So, and our producers will put it up for you, quick messages for you to see. So they're saying that at the terminal building, all persons and luggage passing through the security at the entrance of the terminal building must be screened. Only passengers with valid travel document will be allowed access. At check-in, ensured baggage is first declared and then tagged. Dangerous goods and prohibited items are clearly listed on our display board. Must be packed in either your checked-in, must not rather be packed in either your checked-in luggage or your hand luggage. At the security screening point, passengers and hand luggage items must pass through screening, scanners and security checks, remove all metallic objects, belts, shoes, and electronic devices as instructed by FAN, aviation security officers and personnel. And the last part, at the boarding gate, boarding passes or ID card will be verified. Liquid or gels exceeding 100 ml will be confiscated. FAN security officers conduct physical inspections that are necessary. So this is FAN saying that, look, whatever it is you're doing, now, it's not a question, you must switch off your phone. That is the, so there's no carry. You have the next one.
Well, I think it's just clear, honestly. These are things we don't need to reiterate, particularly with all of those processes. But the phones, definitely, a lot of people will raise issues with that. Is it airplane? Is it turning off and all of that? But that is it from the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. We also understand that another member of the People's Democratic Party, LCNN, has resigned from the party. So resignations rolling in. But again, the politicians say, so what is the capital, the political capital of the person resigning? Well, we'll leave that question to the politicians.
Yeah, Osanene is the son of late Tony Anene, who was the chairman of NLC, founding member of the PDP. He comes from a strong political family. The governor of Edo State right now, Monday Puebla, is Anene's political godson.
Jeffrey, when Nasir El-Rufai left the APC, they said, what political capital does he have? It's a thing. So I'm giving you to his local government. How many votes did he go to his ward? It's a thing.
Also has his reasons. He will tell us his reasons much later. But these are the reasons he gave, guys. So he's left the PDP. We don't know where it's headed to at the moment. But that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. We'll be back again, God willing, tomorrow for the program for another leg. I'm Jeffrey. Bye-bye.
I'm Kairo Kikelu. Sunrise Daily is next. Goodbye.
The new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Omu, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has led to the pages of to become real actions.
National television just to attract attention.
By piece, feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Ready to drive your future? Join LagRide True LagRide Academy.
LagRide is a Lagos State Government e-taxi initiative delivering safe, reliable, and tech-driven transportation across the state. Registration at LagRide Academy is mandatory. Training covers platform operations, safety, and customer service. A non-refundable registration fee of 50,000 naira is required. We are looking for males and females aged 25 to 45 with at least a bachelor's degree, a valid driver's license, NIN, LASDRI, and LASTRA. You also need 2 guarantors in Lagos. If you're responsible, tech-savvy, and have a passion for driving, we want you. Earn 250,000 naira to 400,000 naira monthly. Get a brand new vehicle, a smartphone, insurance, 247 support, certified training, and even a chance to own your vehicle. Ready to become a captain? For more details, WhatsApp +234 707 452 3321. That is +234 707 452 3321. LagRide, Lagos City Cab.
For 9 electrifying seasons, the eye never blinked. Because in this house, the cameras never miss. Season after season of extraordinary moments, a game plan, a loop that shook the house and romance, that kept hearts guessing. And then you've seen nothing yet. This BB Night Jazz Season 10. No filters, no scripts, no holding back. Because it's 10 times the drama, 10 times the rivalry, 10 times the game. This is certified. No zero, no minus. Big Brother Night Jazz Season 10. Showing 247 on DSTV 198. Go TV 49. Go sponsor.
It's 24 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, Sunrise Daily. I'm Maufe Open Yusuf.
It's hump day, it's Wednesday, middle of the week. I'm Kayla. Welcome to the program.
Indeed, we're starting off with an instruction from the NCAA, which has now been, which been in the news for a while now. They now have a directive when next you're boarding an aircraft, you're going to be asked or demanded to switch off your phone. No negotiations, no flight mode. It's simple. Switch off your phone. Well, they have been holding a meeting with stakeholders and seeking more professionalism from members of the workforce around the aviation sector. And we bring you excerpts of what transpired at that meeting.
The unruliness of air passengers, as well as the unprofessionalism of aviation staff in Nigeria, is the focus of this meeting organized by the National Civil Aviation Security Committee in Abuja. Critical security stakeholders, lawmakers, airline operators, among other aviation staff, are all present for this meeting.
Security Committee was...
In his welcome address, the chairman of the committee, who is also the Director General of Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, speaks on the essence of the meeting.
As a regulator, the NCA has seen the urgent need to call the responsible parties together to ensure our respective roles and responsibilities are not only understood as detailed in several documents, but carried out professionally and effectively. Today's engagement that will not achieve the desired result, and rather and awakening us to our individual and collective sector.
Lawmakers who are also present lend their voices to the subject matter while preferring solutions.
The challenge we have as a people and as a nation is one of discipline and one of professionalism. We have a responsibility to discharge our duties and as we often say, without fear. We have enough rules, we have enough regulations. What is left is executing those rules, carrying out those regulations to the best of our ability in such a profession.
Other issues relating to devices on board. The resolution was reached by the committee stating that all devices of air passengers on board must be switched off. Hopefully, these resolutions and others reached at this meeting will help eliminate the disturbing behavior of some aviation staff as well as passengers. From Abuja, Channels Television News.
Well, those are the new rules. There's no other way to do it now. You switch off your phone. I don't even know why this is such a big deal, because I'm glad for the time when my phone is off, so I can rest and not pick up any calls. But that's not the only thing that we're going to be talking about this morning. Of course, that is an advisory for the people out there. There are quite a lot of other things going on in the country. Of course, we had Humanitarian Day yesterday, and then of course the story from Anambra State. But helping us to unpack all of this, Mr. Andrew Mwata, constitutional lawyer and social commentator. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Day.
Yeah, good morning, Kayla, and good morning, Mark. Nice to see you this morning.
Okay, so let's start off with the NCAA and this rule about switching off your phones on flights.
Professor Jega.
So I'm saying this is a very good thing. At least everyone knows what the rules are now, and if you're like to know not to break the rules.
Oh, you told you can't go. Because
because the NCAA is the body empowered by law to make such regulations. To set your the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is to SAT Nigeria. So I think it's a simple instruction. Switch off your phone. It's just a 1 hour interval for local flights. And again, it is an international law by the International Civil Aviation Organization. It is a global criminal. There's no proper way to do the wrong thing. So I don't think putting your phone on flight mode is safe. Not all devices, can stay within that. Because it's a device. And again, most people don't put up their phones. They hide out of 80 million. That's why there's a strict law,
80 million
and immigration law that now in Nigeria you must put up your phone. That airport incident where somebody was told to put up her phone and she refused. I mean, that incident would have been avoided.
80 million.
It's as simple as that.
Yes, it's
straightforward,
because you get it, you need your phone in the airport sometimes, so that you can get your flight schedule, you can be able to, if you did it online, you need your phone. At the point when you enter that airport, you're boarding, now everyone knows to switch off your phone. That's the rule right now from the NCAA. So let's not have anyone else misunderstanding what's going on.
But some people will say it's not just so much. It's not so much. The rule has always been there.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
It's enforcement.
It's the enforcement of that rule that was the issue.
What exactly are you hoping will change with regards to professionalism? Because that's one of the things that came to the fore with regards to the conversation that's held.
Okay, thank you, Malpe. I think
looking at that,
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, should I proceed?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Okay, looking at that incident, from a legal standpoint, you want to say who is at fault. First, the fact that the passenger refused to switch off her phone, and even when he was to disembark, became unruly. I mean, that is totally unacceptable. But the way and manner in which she was evacuated from the aircraft, I mean, the fact that it was even male airport or the airline staff, instead of allowing able-bodied female, either officials of the airline or officials of the fan, I mean, it is not for me acceptable. It does not even matter. It does not matter the manner of addressing. Though a manner of addressing is also reprehensible, but you don't drag a woman like that. God forbid, she's a victim of something. It can pass out. In law, we say you take a victim as you find him or her, the eggshell rule. And imagine if you have such a situation.
But it's one of the matters that we're considering this morning, this issue of trying to finally sanitize and make sure that the aviation sector is set in order. There are a number of other issues. The by-election, the noise over it has still not ended. There are those who believe that if we're to go by the by-elections that INEC conducted over the weekend, then, there might not be much to look forward to in 2027. I wonder what Mr. Anwata would say about that, because there have been complaints. Well, some people will say, what elections have we conducted?
I mean, like we talked about yesterday with our guests, it's quite simple. Where people win, the justice was done. It was done fairly. Where you lose, you were cheated. And it's something that we've gotten to understand about politics in this country. But you see, this particular by-election also made us realize a few things about a lot of the political parties that we're looking at right now. In fact, the ADC was actually a very big topic with this particular by-election. I think maybe Mr. Mwata would like to weigh in on that. Let's talk a little bit, Mr. Mwata, about the by-elections. And of course, this complaint, so everyone, if you win, it was done well. If you lose, they cheated you. And then, of course, the conversation around the ADC and how they performed in this particular election as a pointer to how we might be looking at 2027.
Yeah, thank you, Martin, for that question. The by-election, just like in the United States of America, where they have midterm elections, give Nigerians an understanding of the present politics and the future politics of 2027. The so-called major opposition party, the ADC, their performance is what I can describe as infra-big. It was as if they were not in that election. Not even a single seat was won by them. Like in Edo State, for instance, they had a senatorial candidate. He didn't win a single ward. So for us, it appears that the race in 2027 will still be between the APC and the PDP. But in my state, Edo, PDP performed very poorly. In some wards, PDP did not score more than 500 votes.
Well, there are people who, the by-elections are
there is so much to be desired.
Mr. Amata,
the party that was once
sorry to interrupt you. By-elections are sometimes, the publicity around them usually is not very loud. I don't know when INEC started making noise about, about conducting these elections. It's unclear how the political parties themselves, which also have a responsibility to let people know that such an election was coming up. It's unclear how they too alerted citizens or would-be voters to come out to vote. So sometimes it might not exactly give a very clear picture of what is expected. But in terms of the processes, which is where a lot of people look to, there have been complaints about the processes, there have been complaints about vote buying, there have been complaints about the fact that, well, I don't know if it's a fact, but there have been complaints about how in some instances where the processes went well, the people who were declared winners were not the actual winners. So I do not know for you if looking at the process of what transpired over the weekend, regardless of whether or not, which party won, do you think that we can rely on INEC and its processes as is currently, let's say, constituted, to deliver on good elections come 2027?
Mark, I think I disagree with you in the area of the publicity part you said, because I know these vacancies, most of them existed last year, and so much talk, so much pressure was on the need to fill these vacancies. Like in Edo State, the 2 vacant positions happened on the 11th or rather 12th of last year, November last year, when both the governor of Edo State and his deputy came into office, and their seat automatically became vacant. And of course, the people in these 2 constituencies have always yearned for an election to fill those vacancies. The governor, as the person who left that office, went round on the wards in Edo Central to campaign. So there was more publicity. The same thing with the deputy governor who also campaigned. Even the governor also campaigned in the deputy governor's constituency. So there was so much of publicity, and in the election, people came out to vote. The PDP candidate in Edo Central defeated, or rather the APC candidate in Edo Central defeated the APC candidate with 105,000 votes. That's huge. I don't know about that state, but I can speak for Edo. The election, the by-election that took place in Edo Central was peaceful, was credible and fair.
Oh dear. Well, he says he doesn't know about other states, but he's talking about Edo State. Let's not even get into the fact that in some of these states it would appear that, the dominant parties, the parties in power at the governorship level swept the policy. If he says that it was fair and fair, we haven't heard any complaints from the opposition candidate. Perhaps, we'll wait to hear and not complain on his behalf if we think that the process was fair and fair. Mr. Enwata, you keep going in and out, so hoping that this time around you'll stay for good. So let's talk a little about this crisis. I know it's not in Edo State, and royalty in Edo State is certainly very well respected. No one toys with the other opinion. But I don't know what to make of this dispute between the Ooni of Ife and the Alaafin of Oyo. It would seem that historically there's been some rivalry of sorts between the two of them. Matters that even in some instances have gone to court. But in this is something that people were hoping would rest, especially with the new generation of Obas being is it anointed now or appointed, as the case might be, coming to the throne. As the case is, as a matter of fact, the Alaafin of Oyo was only newly coronated. So what do you make of this dispute between the Alaafin of Oyo and the Ooni of Ife over a title that has been given a son of Yoruba land?
Yeah, thank you, Malpe. It has 2 sides, and I want to view it from those 2 perspectives. We have to look at it from the traditional and historical perspective, and also look at it from the legal perspective. So from the traditional perspective, I know for a fact, because I studied history and I did a bit of it under customary law, both as a student and as a law teacher, that the Ooni of Ife is the spiritual leader of the Yoruba nation. There's no doubt about that. Because if you trace the ancestral background of Yorubas, they draw their backgrounds from Oduduwa, who first conquered from above in Ife. And as such, the position of the Ooni, Yorubas generally regarded as their spiritual leader. And when you now view that particular office from a legal standpoint, he's the head of the Council of Chiefs of Osun State, where his throne is situated. And as such, he has the power, by virtue of that Oduduwa authority, to grant certain chieftaincies, even if it bears the toga of Yoruba land. Right? Because all Yorubas are descendants of Oduduwa, and the Ooni represent Oduduwa on earth, as it were. So I don't think I agree with the Alaafin of Oyo, because he is just the royal father of the Oyo people, of the Oyo Empire, right? Which I don't think extended to Lagos or elsewhere. So to make those statements, you will not blame me because like the position of Are Honor Kankafo, which Otumba Gani Adams occupy now, is usually conferred by the Alafin, but by any stretch of the imagination, it does not extend to other titular positions. And if you look at history, you discover that the Western House of Chiefs, neither the Ooni nor the Alafin have exclusive chairmanship of that position. Unlike in a place like Edo, where the Oba of Benin sits as a live chairman by tradition of the Benin Traditional Council. So every state has its own lances, but I don't think we're in the Western region for the Alafin to think any traditional ruler is under his authority because they belong to two different states, Oyo State and Osun State. And I think these issues will be resolved by historians who I think have maybe different perspectives. But what I've stated is the traditional history I know and what the law says.
Well, I do know that at some point the Oyo Empire extended as far as Dahomey, which traverses Lagos and exactly the Benin Empire as well. So let's not go into history. My standing on history might be faulty, but this dispute certainly is not looking good for Yoruba land, and we're hoping, as you said, that this will be resolved one way or the other. Maybe. Do you think it'll be one of those disputes that will never get resolved? I mean, that rivalry will always be there. However, suddenly it is, it shows itself.
I think it's a dispute that is rooted in ancient antiquity, as old as time, because you wonder when you have traditional rulers, having almost equal status, there's bound to be that, dispute, that supremacy battle. And I think it will be there for a very long time.
I mean, when it comes to Yoruba culture.
The irony is that they belong to two different states, so they should not maintain their fiefdoms.
I mean, when it comes to Yoruba culture, my goodness, I mean, this particular story, we'll see how it unfolds. The Onion said he's not going to respond, but the Alafin says he has the exclusive rights to give titles in Yoruba land. So we'll be watching to see, but the deadline, he gave a 48-hour deadline.
Which expires
and it expires today. So we'll see what happens by the end of today. Now let's take it to Anambra State. This story about this core member, and it's not just her, her and a few, I think there are about 6 in total. This Agune Chamber, this local security outfit in Anambra State that has been, commissioned by the governor, does a lot of work when it comes to security in Anambra State. Well, we're seeing these visuals. It's been going on for a while. This conversation has been going on, where they came into this house. They said we're chasing cultists or criminals or whatever, and then they ran into this area according to the Agune Chamber people, and they went in there, and the treatment that was meted out to these core members who identified themselves, they brought out their cards, they said, we are core members, look at our uniforms, we're not criminals, who are you? There are so many questions that come up about that, and then that disgraceful act of tearing her clothes, tearing her, stripping her naked. I don't know what part of the security protocol calls for the tearing of people's clothes. And these are core members who are not from Anambra State, by the way. So it's brought a lot of questions. The NYC DG, we're trying to hear what he has to say about this. The Anambra State government, the police, where are these culprits? We heard that they have been arrested. Where are they? Can we see them? Can we know where they are? There's so many issues around this particular matter. So, Mr. Mata, just talk to us a little bit about this situation and where the numerous balls that were dropped in the process.
Yeah, thank you, Killer. I saw that video for the first time yesterday on TikTok, and I will tell you, as a father of a daughter and a husband to a wife, that I felt that humanization that youth corper was subjected to. What is our offense? She was serving her country. And people who claim, and I think the governor of Anambra owed Nigerians an explanation. You are the chief security officer of that state. I saw a BBC pidgin a response by his special advisor on community affairs. Do you know that a thing like that can create a civil war if that person is not from that state? You don't treat a human being like that. Just as I mentioned earlier, the eggshell rule in law says you take a victim as you find him. The way and manner she was attacked, it was a case of attempted murder by people who claim to be security personnel. We talk about no gunmen in the southeast. Those people are no gunmen, dressed in mufti. You are pursuing a cultist. And even the law does not allow to do that. Section 36 of, 6 of our Constitution says every person, every person accused of a criminal offense is presumed to be innocent until his guilt is proven. And even Section 35 talked about dignity of a human person. That lady was not properly treated. And if I were a member of our family, we will bring a fundamental rights action against the Anambra State government, including that of Buneba, put under their watch. We were asking for 5 billion naira. You don't treat a human being like that, unprovoked. So I think the governor of Anambra should explain to Nigerians what has happened. Because these people, they are not vigilantes. They are criminals. They are animals. Section 42 of the Constitution says the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. In that area, the Anambra State government has failed. And I think you have to explain to Nigerians, because that's not just an injury to that lady or to come about Nigeria, but to the collective sensitivity of women who...
we understand in every security outfit, whether it's the police, the military, there'll be bad eggs. We get it. Now, the issue is, after this event happened, after this terrible, disgraceful thing happened with Agunechemba Chamber officers, what has happened? Where are the people? They say they've been arrested. Where are they? There are rumors that they are not even in the States anymore. So it's the actions afterwards that I wanted to be able to speak to. So yes, we've seen that this was disgraceful, it was terrible. But where are those who are supposed to be held to account? And you mentioned the governor, which is a very important point. What's he doing about this? Because justice has to be seen to be done, not just telling us we've arrested them or investigations are going on. We need to be able to see that justice is being done. What do you think the governor should be doing differently so that people do not, because he does have an image to protect as well. What should the Anambra State governor, Professor Charles Soludo, be doing right now about this situation?
Thank you. Remember we had a similar situation in Edo. And what did the governor of Edo State do? He disbanded that security outfit. This incident took place in July. But I can assure you that nothing has been done to disband that security outfit. And even it brings to question the need to regulate the activities of vigilante groups in Nigeria. But I think if it is state established, it is the duty of the state to also regulate, profile, and train the security outfits. And I'm not...
These people are criminals. All these people like this. You want to have a criminal from the onset. You will have to have the approach of the establish.
So now allow people who are not to manage security in itself is a threat to security. And as such, we expect action on the part of the Anambra State government. We expect action on the part of civil society groups in Anambra State, because I know they exist. They should take up this matter before the National Human Rights Commission. I expect an action to be filed in court. And I expect the Inspector General of Police to come into this matter and ensure that those people are properly prosecuted and they are tried for what they did. It was a case of attempted murder and nothing more.
Well, Mr. Anwata, I know that certainly this is a conversation that is ongoing. As a matter of fact, we understand that the NYC has now reacted to this matter. They say that they are saddened by the unfortunate assault on one of their female corps members by some operatives of the Anambra State Vigilante Group in Oba, Idemili South local government area of Anambra State. They say they strongly condemn the unacceptable and dehumanizing manner in which the operatives conducted the operations, irrespective of the initial justification for the purported investigation they set out to carry out at the facility where the corps members were accommodated. They say they trust that they hope they get justice for the corps member in question and any other aggrieved party. And they say that the necessary administrative procedures are underway to assist the corps member in question in managing the physiological and psychological trauma resulting from the unfortunate incident. It's like a 6 or 7 paragraph statement that they have released, and I think that certainly we'll be looking forward to the coming days to see just how strongly the steps the NYC takes in this regard. A lot more to discuss with you, but certainly out of time, Mr. Enwata. We have to thank you so much for being with us this morning. Mr. Enwata is a constitutional lawyer and a social commentator, and has been speaking to us from Benin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll take a break at this time. I'll be back shortly to discuss more matters around our politics. Please stay with us.
Nigeria is blessed. Because the Shekiri is blessed, Africa is blessed. It's time to put out a clarion call. We therefore call upon and welcome back all sons and daughters of the Were Kingdom that are dispersed in the diaspora.
Currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Papa, I'm tired of losing on sport bets, so how do I improve my luck?
Oh no, you don't need any luck with N1Bet Casino. With N1Bet, you get triple luck.
You don't feel lose anyway. N1Bet anyway. You get 20% cash back when you're betting no entire. If you get 100% on your first 3 deposits, and each deposit will be your chance to win 500k jackpot.
Play games and win with N1Bet Casino.
Nigeria is blessed. Because the Shekiri is blessed, Africa is blessed. It's time to put out a clarion call. We therefore call upon and welcome back all sons and daughters of the Were Kingdom that are dispersed in the diaspora.
Well, we're taking a look at the state of policy right now and assessing the performance of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 2 years plus that he's been at the helm of affairs in our country, Nigeria. I do know that the policy is heating up and big conversations around how he's done so far. If you speak to members of the opposition, I guess that their reactions might be mixed, given the fact that you also have one prominent member of the opposition in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet. But let us speak with Mr. Sunday Dare right now, who's Special Advisor to the President on Media and Communications. It's good to see you in our studios. Welcome to Sunrise TV.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. Let's start with this. It's not very popular, but oftentimes, one of the ways you can look at whether a country is making progress in a democracy is when you look at the state of human rights. Whether a country is making progress in a democracy is when you look at the state of human rights in that country. And just yesterday, the National Human Rights Commission published its new findings on the state of the the rights of people within Nigeria. And I think the last one we had seen was in May 2025, when they reported a 5% increase in complaints compared to April, with a total of 275,256 complaints. And they also spoke to something that they said, which I found very interesting, was on the issue of religious freedoms, which had come up before now. And I think that Nigeria had to speak up to defend, particularly internationally. And here's what they had to say with the issue of religious freedoms.
Based on our analysis, it is safe to say that the freedom of religion came under heavy attack in the month of July from Edo State, where gunmen kidnapped and killed students of minors in array, killing the security officer, abducting the three. The three seminarians are still in captivity as we speak. In Plateau State, 2 evangelists were killed. In Kaduna State, 5 worshippers were killed during church meeting. In Niger State, we also experienced kidnapping of a pastor. And then in Benue, a church leader and 3 others were killed in attacks in Kwa East.
So that's a report from the National Human Rights Assessment Dashboard. I think that's actually for the month of July, not May. So what would you say to those who are looking at our country right now and saying that, look, every month on month, it does appear that in our democracy, some people say it's still relatively young, but should be growing and making progress. We're still not seeing, a commensurate increase in the state of human rights in our country?
Well, I think the starting point would be that this is a vast country with a huge population. And then you look at the size of our police force, because when it comes onto human rights, yes, right abuses do occur, like you find in other countries. Nigeria is no exception. Not with data in isolation. You deal with global statistics. It would surprise you what you find. Even in America, you have the ICE now, immigrations, making illegal immigrants. We see rights violations. I think what's important is are the institutions of state in place and are they functional? Do we have justice being meted out as soon as these violations occur? And I think that when you look at the data now compared to previous years, especially from the military era and post-military era, we've seen an improvement. But again, we have a population, a huge population for the matter, a police force that needs to be increased in number. Because what helps to reduce these rights violations is first the security forces, second the judiciary. Does the institution in place help to address this? Because when you met out punishments in a timely fashion, when cases go to court and they're dealt with, people know that there will be repercussions and the rights will reduce. Then you talked about the Christians, religious rights. And I know that when 3 months ago we had the issue of a Christian that was supposed to be killed by hanging, you recall. Of course, that has been stopped for now. This issue came up in the US Congress, and the Foreign Affairs Office did respond and came out with data. These are exceptions, they are not the rule. And when you look at Plateau, for instance, I think they were talking about Plateau.
Yeah, they also spoke about Plateau.
I was born in Plateau.
Yeah.
I grew up and lived over 3 decades in Plateau. The crisis in Plateau has been on for over 2 decades. Every single president has come on. And even just this morning, we also had reports about what happened. Now, if we have to talk about the issue in Plateau, we will not leave it this morning. But I think sometimes to have peace, you need the stakeholders from all parties and sides to really sit down and agree to a peace plan. The government can only do much if you have the stakeholders come together. And I think what we've seen in Plateau is, to a large extent, the Christians talk about the atrocities. I found out that you have IDP camps in Plateau. We have also Fulani people who also have casualties and deaths and villages burned, just as you have IDPs for the indigenous people. So it is a tit for tat, and the government comes in as a mediator. Now, unless these two sides really agree to a peace plan, the killings we're talking about, and I don't think that there's a deliberate attempt to obliterate the Christians. What is the fight about? The farmer-elders clash. It's mostly about land and economic rights, etc. It boils down to economic issues.
So, well, the words of the NHRC official who spoke there, he said that religious rights came under heavy. And just this morning, we're looking at the top newspapers. Katsina Mosque who were attacked during prayers. I imagine that for the next month, when the NHRC is doing its dashboard again, this will feature as a religious right that has been infringed upon. Because how can people be praying and they come under the attack?
Unfortunately, that's been a commentary for over 3 decades in this country. This issue of religion. And it's because of the role religion plays in our polity. In a way, we have elevated religion to such a level that we don't pay attention to other things that are critical. We become intolerant as a people. And that's why we find when you have two strong religions competing for attention.
So this is a matter of safety and security, because you also said something about improving the issue of justice, access to justice. Give you an instance. This is the Vanguard this morning. U.S. report raises concerns over security, justice in Nigeria. If you look at the writers, identifies lengthy pre-trial detention, delays.
So let's take security for instance.
Yes.
And let me take off from what happened over the weekend when we have the Southern state leaders, two of them, Al-Nigeria and Al-Mahmouda, that were arrested of the very dreaded terrorist camp. We had the U.S. mission in Nigeria commend the Nigerian security forces and the Nigerian government